can't spot the trend, you're already trading blind. I'm going to show you how I scan 10 forex pairs in minutes, find the direction, and skip the traps that kill most traders. If you're new to this channel, I'm Kojax Pro, a swing trader, and I've been at this game for over 3.5 years. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this video, trend spotting. Now, as a way to kick off this video, I'm just going to go through this watch list, 10 pairs on this watch list: Euro USD, GBP USD, gold, Bitcoin, oil, GBP JPY, S&P 500, AD CHF, GBP NZD, and USD CHF. Now, let's go over to the first pair on our watch list. So that's Euro USD. When you come over to a chart like this, how do you spot the trend? How do you know that this trend is prevailing in a particular direction? Now, because of your style of trading, you might differ in the way you go about things. But me, myself, I'm a professional and I'm also a swing trader. I usually start from the higher time frames. If you're a day trader, because there are two different trading styles, day trading and swing trading are completely different styles of trading. And as a day trader, your bias time frame is usually the daily. You now scale down to the 4-hourly and then take your entries maybe in the 30 or the 15 minutes. But as a swing trader, your bias starts way higher. The monthly time frame, the weekly time frame, you scale over to the daily time frame for your trend alignment, and you usually take entries in the 4-hourly. So I'm a swing trader and I'll be doing swing trading analysis. This pretty much applies to day trading as well. So the nuggets here can be applied to all styles of trading nonetheless. So because of my style of trading, I'm going to start from the monthly time frame for Euro USD. Quickly, Euro USD will come over to the monthly time frame. What's Euro USD doing? Now, it's important to note that before I go on, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss these juicy trading updates and insights as they come. I take my time to prepare this, and I will really appreciate it if you guys support me by clicking that subscribe button. And without wasting much time, let's just go back to the video. So currently, I've used my trend line right about here to draw the trend of EURUSD and what it's been for a long time. Now, EURUSD has ceased to be bearish. Now, EURUSD is bullish. You can see that we broke above this trend line right about here. We came down to trade below it. Now, the market has broken above it, retested it, and has decided to move to the upside. So currently, EURUSD is bullish. Another way I go about this is also on the weekly time frame. Now, you can see here that the weekly time frame usually will follow the trend of the monthly time frame, always, except there is a change in sentiment, or maybe the market is about to change its direction, in which case the weekly time frame gives off a chart pattern, and whenever chart patterns form, the trend is likely to change. And you usually see these chart patterns on the weekly time frame, sometimes the monthly. Now, in the weekly time frame right about here, when we broke out of the trend, you can see that we broke out of this trend line nicely, and this trend was supposed to continue to the upside. But you can see that the market created a chart pattern, this being the left top, this being the right top, and then this being the neckline. Now, when the neckline was broken, EURUSD continued to go with the prevailing trend, the initial trend, which was bearish. Now, EURUSD has broken above it right about here, retested it here, and broken a supply region. Let me just draw the supply region right here. So this is the supply region that was broken, and EURUSD broke it right about there. So that's why we are undoubtedly bullish on EURUSD. Simple. Now let's go over to the next pair. Now this is GBP USD. Same pattern. I usually start on the monthly time frame. GBP USD was also bearish for a while, and you can see I've connected the trend lines nicely. And after this break above here, GBP USD broke above this trend line, retested it the same fashion it did for Euro USD, retested it and began to go to the upside. So GBP USD is technically bullish, but in order to know the exact sentiment in the market, you need to go down to the lower time frames. Now, this is the monthly time frame. Now, when we go over to weekly time frame, you will see that GBP USD came over to this level right about here and stalled. Now, why did this stall? Simple. I've explained this in my previous videos. I'm going to do it now in a short summary. This was the previous chart pattern that was created by GBP USD. A head and shoulder pattern. This is the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. And then this green bar, which I've put here, is the neckline. So this was a neckline that saw GBP USD to the downside. Now the market came back after retesting this trend line and was now bullish. It came back to this neckline and held there. Now this neckline is holding it, like you can see, and the price is already going below. Are we continually bullish on GBP USD? It's a 50-50 scenario, and I explained this in my last video. Now GBP USD will ideally have to, so just draw this. So GBP USD, because this was the last supply region here, and then go over to the 4-hour time frame. So GBP USD is actually giving us some bullish signals. It has eventually become bullish because this particular supply region in yellow, which I drew here, was the last straw to spell continued bullishness for GBP USD. And in my previous video, I pointed out that if GBP USD stays on that line or breaks below it, then we will cease to be bullish. But you can see in this case now, it broke above it, retested, and it's moving up to the upside. So there's no doubt that GBP USD continually or in the long term is bullish. And I'll be looking to take further trading opportunities on GBP USD in the near future. But this is not about trading opportunities. This is about spotting the trades. And GBP USD now is bullish. Let's go over to the next pair. Now, this is gold. Gold. What do we see that gold is doing? We don't start in the 4-hour time frame. We come over to the monthly. Now you can see clearly. So for those that are new to trading and you don't know why there has been this ruckus or this sentiment bothering about gold for a while now, gold is bullish. And how you can see that is in the monthly time frame. You can see clearly that the market is steeply bullish. And if you are thinking of shorting gold now, please, I advise you not to do that because gold currently is bullish. The only way gold can change its sentiment is if something happens on the weekly time frame. And I just said it now and I'm going to say it again. The only things that change trends are chart patterns and maybe break of a major trend line. Now in this case, this major trend line is very much intact. Before gold comes to eventually break this trend line, it will take a while. It might even take 2 to 3 years for that to happen. But in the meantime, gold can actually begin to start having pullbacks or retracements or slight reversals. And it's only the weekly time frame that will tell us that. So when we go over to the weekly time frame here for gold, we'll see that we are trying to see on the weekly time frame whether any sort of chart pattern is being created, and we don't see any chart pattern here. Guys, you can see how steeply bullish gold is so bullish. So we've had the first trend line and we're having an inner trend line. Gold is bullish. Simple. I will not be looking to short gold anytime soon until a certain criteria is met, but that's meant for another video. Now let's go over to the next pair on our list, Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin is going through the same fashion as gold. Now Bitcoin is bullish. We broke this level right here, we broke this level right here, we broke it. As a matter of fact, you can see that Bitcoin is making the characteristics of a bullish trend. So this is a higher high, higher low. This is a higher high as well. This is a higher low. And then the market is potentially making another higher high. So if you go over to the weekly time frame, you can see this clearly. You can see that Bitcoin is making higher highs and higher lows. I am not looking to short Bitcoin anytime soon. As a matter of fact, I made a prediction in one of my videos that Bitcoin's next target will be $139,000 per coin. Currently, Bitcoin is trading at $118,000 per coin. And I'm not going to be having any contrary bias to Bitcoin until it gets to that take profit level, which is $139,000 per coin. And that's full take profit. Now, let's go to oil, the next pair on our list. So oil will start from the monthly time frame. So in order to trade oil, you need to know exactly what was happening in oil. And I'll actually use the weekly time frame to show you that. Now, initially, in order to know which direction oil is taking, for those of you that love to trade this type of commodities, let me show you. But it's important that I put out there now that oil is not 100% technical instrument. It has some fundamental undertone to it. So even if you get your technicals very right with oil, anything can happen. One kind of news can come up and then it's going to crash the sentiment. So, but since we are grossly up to 95% technical on oil, I'm going to analyze it in this fashion. Now, oil was initially here bearish. So you can see that we're bearish here, and all of a sudden we became bullish like so, and now we are now bearish once again from here. So you can see that we are now bearish once again. So oil currently is bearish. Initially we were bearish, we became bullish, and now we are bearish again. And the reason is because we've broken, or we broke critical levels here. So we broke this level to become bullish, and then we have now broken this level as well to become bearish. So currently this is the stance for oil. Oil is bearish, but you will need to go down to the lower time frames to know how to actually go about trading oil. And because I am only just spelling the trends currently, I'm not going to go into so much detail, but I'm going to point out something here so that you see it clearly and know how to go about trading oil. We've got a level right about here. Now this level was created by, so this is a daily level. I'm just going to put it in. So this level was created by this reaction right about here. So this was this is an inverse head and shoulder that wanted to reverse oil to the upside. Actually, it did reverse oil back to the upside, but it met this trend line right about here. So this trend line was met here, and oil met the prevailing trend line right here and decided to come back. Now this was an inverse head and shoulder, the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder, and then this yellow bar is the neckline. Now oil has gone above it and has come to trade below it. Actually, this is a full candle break below it. If I'm just going to zoom in, you can see that we have broken below. So that's why my sentiment on oil still remains bearish, because we have broken below this yellow bar. All I need is a retest on that yellow bar. If you know how I usually love to trade, you will know that I'm waiting for a good retest at this region. I'm not saying it now because usually I don't enter on breaks. I usually want the market to go a little and then give me pullbacks to trade. Now, oil has not done that now, so I will not be entering any trade because I'm a swing trader. I know how to enter trades. But oil is heading south, and futuristically, here I might take profit targets for oil once I eventually enter a trade. So this is the first point to take your profit from at $60. So currently we're trading at $63.6 per barrel. Now the next profit target for oil, if the bearish sentiment prevails, the next profit target is $60.8 per barrel. And if we continue in that sentiment, because that's likely what's going to happen, then we'll eventually get to this level right about here, and that's $55.5 per barrel. So I'm actually looking at oil tanking. That's it on oil. Let's go over to the next pair on our list. Now on the next pair, we have GBP-JPY. So GBP-JPY. So GBP-JPY is, you can see this is the monthly time frame. So GBP-JPY is bullish, and I'm just going to put it here. Simple. Apart from it being bullish, you can see the trend line shows that it's bullish. It's also broken this critical level right about here. So it's trading above this level. If you scale down further, you'll see that we have actually cleared this level right here, and the market is going to the upside. So GBP-JPY is bullish, and very soon we'll be getting more trading opportunities on GBP-JPY. Do you want to trade GBP-JPY? Be looking to the upside. Let's go over to the next pair, the S&P 500. So now everyone knows the S&P 500 is a rallying pair. I mean, everyone knows that, and if you can look here, you can see that we are making, it's just my two actually. So these are higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, and higher, high. So S&P 500 is bullish. There's no kidding about that. I've not had a trading opportunity yet on S&P 500. Maybe I'll be looking at it very soon because I'm caught up with some other pairs at the moment. But S&P 500 will look like a pair to actually hop on a bullish trade. But it looks to me to be quite steep, and that's why it looks to me to be quite steep, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to continue to soar to the upside, because S&P 500 just loves to soar, and that's good for the world economies, most especially the US economies. Okay, let's go over to the next pair, ADCHF. Now ADCHF is clear. You see why spotting the trend is very important. If you want to know whether you have a bird's eye view and a good understanding of trend spotting, just ask let's say a 3-year-old kid or a 5-year-old kid, look at this chart and tell me which direction do you think this chart is going. It's going to simply tell you that this chart is going down. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that this chart is going down. So this is the first trend line to draw, and then this is the next trend line to draw as well. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that this market is going down. So I'm just going to take out that outer one because it's irrelevant. ADCHF is bearish, but we are long-term bearish on ADCHF, but we might be, because this is something that is common with pairs, we might be long-term bearish on the higher time frame, but medium-term bullish or ranging. Now let's see whether we are still medium-term bullish. We'll go back to the weekly time frame to see. Now we have we don't see any chart pattern, and yep, so we'll draw this level right about here, and then just clone it, draw another one, put another one right here, then clone it, and then put another one right here. So you can see that from this alone now, you can see that we've come to this level here on the weekly time frame, and we are creating what looks like, so I show you guys now, we're creating what looks like a chart pattern. Now if you don't know what chart patterns are, you're going to see one now. So we are actually creating what looks like a chart pattern here. Now this is a double bottom that is forming on this level. So this is the level here, this is the left bottom and the right bottom. So currently this chart pattern now has a neckline. Let's just put the neckline right about there so you can see where we're looking at. Now this is the neckline. Now this is the neckline for this chart pattern. Now since this is happening, you can see that we have been put to a temporary halt on the bearish progression of ADCHF just because of this chart pattern that is forming. And that's why I said it's good to know what's happening in the inner charts. They have a bird's eye view first of all, like how zoom out and see what's happening on the higher time frame, then scale in to know what's happening on the lower time frame. Because of this chart pattern is forming on the weekly time frame, I will not be looking to take further sell trades on ADCHF until we get a clearer picture of what ADCHF wants to do. Maybe it wants to reverse, because this is actually a chart pattern that wants to reverse its trend to the upside. If it eventually breaks the neckline, we're going to go all the way up. So hold that thought for now for ADCHF. ADCHF is long-term bearish, medium-term we are ranging, because chart patterns are basically ranging markets. Now let's go over to the next page, GBP/NZD. Now GBP/NZD is almost similar to GBP/USD, and you can see clearly that on the monthly time frame we are going up. So we are going up on GBP/NZD. Simple. It's going to be the same intricacies as GBP/JPY, in which case we need to draw our monthly and our key levels. So I'm not going to be drawing those key levels now because we're not looking to take trading opportunities. We're just only spotting the trend. But you should know that GBP/NZD now is bullish. Now the last pair on this list, because I don't want to make this video very long, the last pair on this list is USD/CHF. Now USD/CHF has been bearish all this while, so you can see that the trend is going down. As simple as that. Earlier on this year, we took a winning trade on USD/CHF, and then just last month, I think we took a loss on USD/CHF. But obviously, because of risk management, we know how to manage our trades. We're still floating in profits, and USD/CHF currently is long-term bearish, medium-term we are ranging medium-term. If you watch my previous video, you will see why we are ranging currently on it. Or we are stalling on USD/CHF. So we are doing some momentary pullbacks. The market has crossed a daily level, and if price doesn't come down below that daily level, I might just hands off entirely from USD/CHF. So that's it on this space. So summarily, Euro/USD is bullish, GBP/USD is bullish, gold long-term bullish, medium-term ranging, Bitcoin bullish, oil bearish, GBP/JPY bullish, S&P 500 bullish, ADCHF long-term bearish, medium-term ranging, GBP/NZD bullish, and USD/CHF long-term bearish, medium-term ranging or stalling. Did you get value from this video? Was it easy to spot these trends? Did you know how to do it initially? If you didn't know how to do it initially and you have learned it now from this video, I would like to see your comment. Give this video a like throw in your comments. Subscribe to the channel so you can get professional insights like this into the forex market. And if you have any questions, if there's a pair you want me to analyze, or if there's a certain thing you want me to do for you on this channel, I'm more than happy to do that. This is Proving the Markets, and I'm Kojak's Pro. I'll see you in my next video.